Hello everybody and welcome to the final day here of the regular season. That's right, all good things must come to an end, and it is happening right here. Of course, you're joining me and Joshua Sideshow Wilkinson, Uncle Egg as he's known. I think the tag that they've placed actually in the chat now, if you type _casters, it does come up with Joshua Uncle Egg Wilkinson. So okay, thank you whoever set that one up.
Yeah, that's canon now, I suppose. We are going to figure out today, Brennan, that time is not a flat circle. It does indeed move at a linear rate, and we are towards the end of the regular season. But I think you're wrong, though, Brent, because good things don't come to an end. They only get better, because the last day of the regular season means it's almost playoff time as well. So we're actually just getting ready. Today is just an appetizer for the amazing playoffs that I'm sure are ready to come later on in just a couple of weeks' time.
That's a good way to put it, Josh, an appetizer, because when I see these two teams, obviously you've got the Dallas Fuel and the Paris Eternal, the only thing that comes to mind is cuisine, because these two teams, you got Texas, which is known for some pretty good cuisine, generally speaking. I've been to Texas, I think, twice. It's pretty good, the food. Yeah, I would say it's like pretty much... I'd probably say it's the best I've had in America. I don't know about you. And then there's the French as well, in Paris. Now, personally, I've never been to Paris, but you have. Now, I feel like you would be a good indicator of how good the cuisine actually is in Paris.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. It's pretty good. I mean, you take a look at the Dallas starters here as we avoid the talk about cuisine, if at all
I'd
possible.
like to make more comparisons, honestly, between, Texas barbecue and things.
Sure.
I'm getting shouted at. That we should really be talking about the players here. But
so here's something interesting though, Brent, between these two teams that isn't food based. It's Doha going up against his former team here as well. He's had a couple of cracks at the Paris Eternal so far this year.
Yeah,
but despite there not being really a difference in the standings if they come out with the win today, obviously the Dallas Fuel are going to want to finish on a high note after the tumultuous season that they've had. But also Doha, I think, is going to be playing his own little mini game here, trying to beat his former teammates from Element Mystic. And if you take a look at the Paris starting lineup, they have a lot of those. It's Sparkle, Exi, who's obviously not in the starting lineup to start here, Hanbin, who's been a Rookie of the Year candidate with his Sigma so far this season as well. So they've got a couple of those players that are available here for the Paris Eternal should they choose to run them. They've got two of them in the starting lineup as well here that have constantly been able to beat their former teammate in Doha over on the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, it's a hard ask, though, for the Dallas Fuel, because they honestly are not feeling that comfortable coming into this meta. And how can you feel comfortable when you're going up against a team like the Paris Eternal? I remember I did an interview recently with the Dallas Morning News to talk about this, and part of the information that I gained from that was learning that the interim head coach for Dallas, Young, was actually feeling a little bit uncomfortable in this meta for the Dallas Fuel currently. He feels like it isn't a good meta for them. Outside of that, I would say you don't have to worry about it, because this meta is not going to be the one moving into playoffs. You don't need to focus too much on that. It's going to be very different, very, very different indeed, because of course we have the hero pools in now, but for playoffs there will be no hero pools. And that's going to be taking place directly after this week. So I will say that for the Dallas Fuel, you don't have to worry about that too much, but you are up against the Paris Eternal. And the Paris Eternal have been formidable this entire season long, definitely vying for that top spot. So a real testing mark, if you will, as you test things and you mark where something lands. I don't know.
Testing
maybe you
marks,
do that in golf.
very common.
Maybe some sort of sport you do that, frisbee, possibly. I don't know. Maybe,
sure.
What's the thing where they toss the ball around in the Olympics? The shot put, mate. No, what is it called?
There is a shot.
A shot put, right?
I don't know whether you use a testing mark though. I don't think that's an applicable analogy.
No, I made up that word, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Well, Brent, there's also the story here is whether Ben Best can play Winston as well, because I saw a tweet from Ben Best that was in French, but handy Google Translate, plus my many years of eating cuisine in France, as you've previously said, allowed me to translate it. And he said, wow, these foolish coaches, they put Ben Best in a Winston meta, obviously tongue-in-cheek. A lot of the criticism that has been leveled at Ben Best this year has been at his lack of flexibility at the main tank role. He's looked phenomenal on the Orisa, and he has shown us a great grind in the past, but we have yet to see him really play at a top level on Winston. So this will be a nice idea moving into playoffs here if he's able to really compete at the top level.
fight's already got started here, and then it seems like the Dallas Fuel have taken a lot of early positioning, and that is wonderful work from them. Nice little Bionade from Crimzo to set things up. 2 kills off the back of it. Should be an instant team fight win for them, and yeah, you know, it's always been a question mark actually. A bit of a maybe some unwarranted criticism of BenBest in terms of his flexibility, but
I don't think it's unwarranted though, personally.
Well,
because
I will say,
if you think of, yeah, go on.
I just want to say, Josh, okay, if you give me a little bit of a moment here, I know you want to talk more about French cuisine, but the BenBest has, I think, showcased that he is actually a very capable player this season. No one really had high expectations for him coming into this season, and he's upset all of them by playing on the Paris Eternal and being part of this top 3 team and the real engine for them moving forwards.
Oh yeah, it's been one of the best redemption stories that we've had. He would be a candidate for some kind of comeback player of the year award if we had that kind of award, for sure. He's just starting to get up to his first primal here, so with that nano boost, it'll give them an opportunity to get back into this team fight, though Dallas Fuel have got up to an early 40%. But, you know, usually it is No Smite that plays the role for this team, so this is an adaptation of strategy. Soon as well coming in instead of Xe, and unfortunately this attack for Paris just hasn't quite worked. He invested double support ultimate, but it's Dallas who have managed to stay in control.
Yeah, Dallas so far really playing very, very well. And again, playing to their strengths as well, because Doha, you got to imagine, I mean, we all know he does have a fantastic Sombra on him as well in his hero pools.
Yes,
this is
one of his best
was
heroes, and also he's one of the best Sombras genuinely in the world. I think if he was on a better team or had been able to play Sombra for more of the season, you would see him truly in that elite level of Sombras.
Well, Note does go down, which is a great little pick-off, but we'll see if the Paris Eternal can convert it into anything else. The Resurrect is committed into the backline, so Note's going to be able to remake. BenBest committing this Primal Rage, but you never want to Google it because he's struggling to find a kill. Come on, BenBest, please! Finally gets it with the beatdown. And it will mean that the Paris Eternal are able to take that fight with the space created from the Primal Rage. But yeah, not a fantastic start for the Paris Eternal here. And honestly, BenBest moving over to the Winston or playing this more so for the Paris Eternal. I think this is necessary for the Paris Eternal moving into the playoffs as well, Josh. I don't know if you agree with me with that, but Paris have typically been quite not a one-dimensional team, but they definitely are quite an easily readable team based on what players they're fielding at the time.
Yeah, that was both of the supports dying insanely early there as well for Dallas Fuel to win this first round. I don't think there's any way that the Paris Eternal are going to be able to come back into this one. Yeah, so a very quick and honestly easy first round there for the Fuel. Paris showing none of those signs of life that we've seen from them earlier on in the season. Maybe Hanbin is going to be able to delay for long enough. No, it's going to be the first round for Dallas. And to hop on the point that you were just mentioning, I totally agree with you. I think for Paris Eternal, this seems like more of an experimental look for them as they, you know, it's not a large experiment, but somewhat of one, in order to try and develop that added flexibility to their lineup, because while they've been a very well-structured team and well-coached team that always have good strategies for individual maps, they've struggled to adapt within maps and within series because No Smite always comes in to play the Winston. BenBest is always playing the Orisa. They always have Nico in if they want to play the Mei, for example. It is very telegraphed, yeah. And so Paris, I mean, especially with the playoff patch where we don't even know what the meta is going to be, but all indications from ranked are that it's going to be very chaotic and adaptive on the fly. Paris need to develop that kind of skill set if they want to go deep in our 2020 playoffs.
Which is probably why we are seeing BenBest playing the Winston here today. Now Dallas Fuel actually opting for the double shield comp now as we get Sparkle caught in the trap. I was wondering why he was just stood there like a duck in the water. Well, taken out pretty easily, and BenBest will follow suit. Yeah, well, you like that one? That's the one that got you. Yeah, you know, like ducks can be sitting in like a sitting duck,
you ever seen
right,
a
in the
Jesus
water?
duck that can walk on water, Brent? How are they going to be stood up in the water?
I never said stood up, I said sitting, didn't I?
I mean,
I'm pretty sure I said sitting in the water.
All right, fair enough.
I don't think it was standing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I said sitting, but yeah,
Dallas with their double shield comp. This is looking good for them, honestly.
They absolutely are looking pretty good, and I feel like they've got a good read on how to play this kind of composition. Junkrat's so strong on this particular section of Busan as well. When you get into the mecha base, very close quarters.
Absolutely. You get big value out of Onigon and Doha here. Doha on the jump right. Nice decisive engagement from Dallas. Fielder hits a big Bionade, but is going to pay his life for it. That's going to allow Dallas, okay, they give up the point, but they've got a massive advantage in this team fight now.
Yeah, they're perfectly happy to give it the point just for a few seconds because pretty likely they're going to end up winning this team fight. Bembest tries to jump up behind the Dallas Fuel when they were set up on the perch. The tire comes through from Doha, will get destroyed, but not before they've already taken out Bembest. That main tank gone means that they're going to be lacking a lot of that initiation. Even trades could still be an opportunity for the Parasitano to come back into this. They want to commit this. The Valkyrie gets used here by FD God. I don't know how certain I am that that might help them there. Seems like a bit of a wasted ultimate, but soon brings down Doha. So, another opportunity for them now. EMP onto 4 targets of the Dallas Fuel, all trapped below. And they're going to be collapsed onto by the rest of the Paris Eternal. So, a scrappy fight, but one that should be edging the way of the Paris Eternal eventually.
Yeah, but Dallas were able to get up to 73% here by the time all of the stalling is dealt with, and they still have double tank ultimates plus a sound barrier at some point to be able to push back in. So, not a bad situation to be in if you're Dallas Fuel. And the Paris Eternal have... Okay, we talk about them being a top contender for the majority of this year, but they actually had a very close game against the Atlanta Reign where they looked pretty uncomfortable on this meta recently. So this might be how the rest of the series goes, a very back and forth match between these two teams.
There's a lot of ultimates here for the Paris Eternal, but the Dallas Fuel have both of their tank ults. They're going to lead in now with the Supercharger, which should stop a lot of people, but look at this. The utilization of the ults comes through. Supercharger goes down. See Soon trying to put in that consistent dynamite damage, but struggling to really get past the shields of Dallas Fuel as they begin to slowly accrue a bit more positioning, gaining a bit more ground. Gravitic Flux will catch onto the one, Hanbin down onto half HP, Bembest blown up in the back line. The Primal Rage not saving him. 61%, they do manage to get this Resurrect though, so Paris Eternal still in this fight for the time being. We'll see though as the fight continues, nice flashbang, not able to get the kill. Onigod goes down here, Josh.
Yeah, Onigod's fallen and Dallas were weak. They've invested the sound barrier here as well, so they still want to turn it. That's a disastrous committal of ultimates, in my opinion, because now Paris are just going to be able to chain these ults, cycle them around, soon hitting shots in the back line as well. And suddenly, it looks to be fairly unwinnable for Dallas. They're going to come back into this with an EMP and with a Supercharger, maybe if the fight goes long enough, but who is even going to be able to touch and delay? It's probably going to be Doha, and he needs to be in position for his EMP, so things are not looking good here for Dallas in the second round after going up 73-0.
Doha's going to get solo EMP'd there by Sparkle, just a flex on him. And they do manage to go straight down the center tunnel, but it will not be enough. It seems like a lot of players falling now for the Dallas Fuel. Onigon trying to put it into his own hands here. You can see him on the high ground, getting shot after shot, but not enough. Second round will be going to the Paris Eternal here as they clean up their act. They get their stuff together, and suddenly we do have a map on our hands.
Yeah, and that was just pretty good ult cycling, honestly, from the Paris Eternal. Once you're in control of the point, it's obviously much easier to hold than it is to attack when it comes to control, especially when you have a composition that cycles so well with the EMP and with the Nano Boost and the Primal Rage. So Paris did a good job of just rotating those ultimates and staying in control, putting the pressure on Dallas. But now it seems like we're going to see a double shield mirror once it comes to the Sanctum area of Busan, which makes a lot of sense. Historically, we've seen a lot of Widowmaker Tracer, that kind of stuff. Obviously, Tracer not available this week due to the hero pools. But I think we'll see some kind of long-range hit scan plus the Sombra here from both sides.
Who would you say, Josh, is the main Sombra target for both of these teams? Because they're playing mirror compositions coming into this.
Yeah, I mean, the Sombra can't really do too much harass on the backlines themselves, and maybe you're just looking for a hack onto the Sigma in order to take away one of those shields and give more opportunities for your Widowmaker. Honestly, with this hero pool, a lot of the good comps that you can create don't have that much synergy. But Sparkle starts out by harassing the Widowmaker, taking him out of the fight. Onigod, under attack, ends up falling. That's pretty similar to the role of the Tracer as you would have it in one of these normal compositions. And Doha wasn't really going for the same kind of thing. I think instead going for the tank line.
That's the trouble as well, though. As soon as you take out one of the enemy Widowmaker in this kind of composition as well, The only thing that can keep the other Widowmaker in check is, generally speaking, going to be the Sombra or the other Widowmaker. So as soon as that threat is removed, Soon has so much more space to work with. You saw it immediately. He could take much more aggressive angles. He could pump in the damage from the off angles. There wasn't much that Dallas Fuel could really do, but Paris now holding on. They've found a foothold here. Doha searching for a hack. Might even go for this solo. One clip. Where is the peel? Fielder just gets destroyed. Onigod winning the Widowmaker 1v1, and just like that, Dallas Fuel flipping this in their favor.
That almost looked like Doha was invisible there, or maybe Fielder was the invisible one, because nobody even attempted to peel for him. There was no healing, no immortality field, no damage onto Doha whatsoever. Interesting as well to see Doha versus Sparkle on the Sombra here. Obviously, both of these two were teammates in the past. They both played the Doomfist at various times for Element Mystic in contenders, but Doha was definitely the main Sombra. Credited as being one of the best Sombras in the world, part of the amazing Hack Fist composition that they had going. And he comes out with the first EMP, gets demolished though by
Oh my god. Fielder, I feel like he ran him for a book and just kicked him straight in the face when he went for it, but the Dallas Fuel certainly ready for it. He capitalized off the back of the EMP, the Matrix as well, but Paris Eternal turning things around. Committing that gravitic flux. And it looked like it was so good for the Dallas Fuel there in that moment, but just one slip up, one opportunity. They allowed the Paris Eternal to just commit both of those tank ultimates. They weren't punished for it. They're going to flip this point again into their favor. Very back and forth so far in this series.
Yeah, a big EMP like we saw there from Sparkle, who's already back up to 43%, by the way. But yeah, it was those double tank ultimates, because Dallas Fuel didn't quite have them online, weren't in position to commit them. And that Supercharger is so hard to play against. That's a great first pick, though, from Dallas. And they're going to be using their ults here. Dallas would love to get out to an early beginning here. A win on Busan would be huge for their morale heading into the playoffs.
No one taking care of the Supercharger as well, so Onigod just taking pot shots. The Discord Orb and the damage boost applied by the Supercharger. Woo! Look at that note. Just absolutely crushes the opposition. Paris Eternal not really with the correct focus fire in that scenario, I think. They were just kind of feeding onto the point.
Well, but also, Dallas, what do you do? So. I mean, your Batiste is dead and the enemy team has double tank ultimates. That is a lost fight.
That's right.
So they're just trying to trickle onto the point in order to get it going as long as possible. Build out, or draw out, rather, as many tank ultimates as they can from the Dallas Fuel, of which they got both. And now they can push back in with the EMP. But it's crucial that Paris execute here. This is their one opportunity to take this map.
Sparkle is ready and waiting, perched up. He gets it. Nice halt into the EMP as well. That means that Note will be the first casualty. They might even go for the second here. Gamsu in trouble, but finally the hack will fade, but not even the Fortify will be able to save him, as he will be meeting his maker. Flip just in the nick of time there. 91% for the Dallas Fuel, but now Paris can start to accrue up a bit of time of their own, as we are 1-1 in this first map. Very, very close between these two teams. One slip up could be the difference maker.
Yeah, it's on a knife's edge here, and Doha could twist the knife in either direction with a good EMP or a bad EMP. They certainly have ways of mitigating it. Paris Eternal are getting close to ultimates as well, so the Dallas Fuel's window of opportunity is getting slimmer and slimmer. 5 seconds to touch the point. Infrasight is going to allow them to get there a little bit easier, but all eyes on Doha.
Oh, God. The tanks of the Dallas Fuel are so low, they have to be committed so early. EMP goes onto 3 targets, but the damage might already be done. Soon going absolutely huge here. Takes out Crimzo, and it looks like the Paris Eternal are in complete control of their destinies thus far. No one can touch the point. And just like that, they will be taking map number 1 in not a decisive fashion, but certainly an entertaining one.
Yeah, it was sloppy, it was scrappy, it was Paris fielding just some players that they don't normally play in these kind of lineups, you know? Fielding Ben Best, fielding Soon, which I'm interested to see, honestly, Ben, whether that continues over the course of this series and indicates a larger trend moving towards the playoffs of them prioritizing flexibility. I mean, maybe it was just for Busan because Ben Best wants to play the Orisa on one of the stages as well. Not 100% sure, but it is interesting that they're rotating their roster around. Obviously, Paris Eternal have already locked in their seed, so nothing to lose in this match, just an opportunity to experiment.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is a good showcase, I think, from the Paris Eternal, at least their willingness to flex around a couple of the roles in the lead up to the playoffs. It's good signs for this team here. We'll see, though, can the Dallas Fuel answer back with a couple of maps of their own? Well, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, the series will continue. Don't go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Pringles Wavy. Big crunch, big flavor. The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
So the Dallas Fuel currently with their backs against the wall, 1-0 down in this series thus far. But they are playing against the Paris Eternal, currently on number 3 seed, and that is locked in, that's solidified in that cement. Now, I don't know if you really want to solidify many things in cement because it seems like quite a permanent fixture, and anything could really change. Maybe not in this season, but maybe next season, you know, you never know. Kind of going on a bit of a tangent here, Josh. What's your favorite kind of cement?
Yeah,
cool.
I don't really have favorite types of cement, to be honest.
I was looking up the other day.
Posts, possibly?
I was looking up the other day, somebody making some makeshift dumbbells out of cement buckets and pipe. And they basically would like fill the bucket with cement, and they would put the pipe in, and then they would let it go, and then they made dumbbells out of it. It's pretty cool.
Are you
actually.
desperate for more gains?
Yeah, I was thinking I needed some dumbbells, but they're sold out everywhere still. Anyway, we've got a substitution. Nico's going to be in for Sparkle. So we're going to be making the switch up here. And Josh, what does this really signify to you, at least, from this switch up?
I have genuinely no idea what this should signify, because I can't imagine them particularly using May on Route 66. It wouldn't be a usual pick. I can't really think of many areas of the map where it would be a better pick than just the default Sombra and Ashe kind of stuff that we've seen from both teams. Maybe Nico is coming in to play the Sombra. That would be the most obvious choice, but then Sparkle seemed pretty good on it on map 1. But I think something to remember throughout the entirety of this series is Paris have locked in their seat. They can swap around their roster however they like just to get these players experience, just to give them, one last run in the regular season, to showcase to the fans, whatever. There doesn't have to be a logical reason for subbing Nico in here that means something for the rest of the season. It's possible that they're going for more roster flexibility heading into the rest of the season, and it'll be nice to see Benbest playing a bit more Winston here as well. But I'm not gonna I'm not going to stretch my brain molecules trying to figure out exactly why Nico over Sparkle when it comes to the Sombra. I don't know whether they've solidified on a Sombra player. They're not a team that has played a huge amount of it this season. But I imagine that if that was the meta in the playoffs, that's something that they would develop over scrims in the coming weeks, rather than something they would have already settled on.
Solidified like cement. The Dallas Fuel now with an opportunity on the attacking side. Don't know why I've got cement on the mind. But yeah, just another fact of life, I suppose. In a bit of a funny mood this morning. Onigod rolling out the gates, looking to see if he can hit a headshot or two. It was a forward hold attempt. I say attempt because Hanbin was sleeping on the job, and FD-God gets absolutely destroyed there. Burnt down from the dynamite. And they've, off the back of that initial sleep dart, Crimzo with a great play just to set things up nicely for the Dallas Fuel.
I'll tell you what, Brent, they are running a Mercy Zen backline, which is not as good as a Mercy Ana backline within the current meta. You don't have the Nana boost to be able to cycle ults as effectively. Benbest and Hanbin can't be healed as effectively. You can't peel for people as effectively. You have more damage, but you don't really have the pocket because FD-God's going to be on soon the entire time as well. So if Benbest looks like he's feeding here on Route 66, don't be harsh on the guy because he's not playing with an Ana. You have to remember that here. So already the Paris Eternals composition, I've got a couple of questions about it. I don't really understand the Fielder Zen pick. Remember as well that Fielder himself is playing on 200 ping, so it's amazing he can even hit any shots on that hero.
I know. He still looks better than you as well. Incredible. Well, Zenyatta, although not a hard task. Nana boost applied to Gamsu. Sorry for throwing shady there, Josh. I do feel bad about that comment. I don't know why. My
I didn't even hear what you said, Brent. I couldn't make out what you said, so it passed me by. Well, don't worry about it.
This is the strength of this composition, though. The Dallas Fuel are really just flexing every aspect of it because it all revolves around the Nana Boost, the EMP, and the Primal Rage, really. And it's about the cycling of ults. I said it the other day when I was casting with Uber, and you just said it just here. You know, you got to rotate those ultimates around to get a pretty good efficiency when it comes to it. You know, the Nana Boost applied to the Winston to help him build the Primal Rage. The Winston then later uses that Primal Rage to create some space. Maybe you combo with the EMP just to win out a team fight. It's a very cool composition. Quite old
EMP
school.
Bionade is also huge. Tell you what's also good, that reaction transcendence on 200 ping from Fielder. That's crazy good reaction time to be able to get that. And an instant response from Nico with the EMP as well. That should win Paris a team fight. Except they just can't get over the healing. They have no Bionade to combo with the EMP, so they lose. Yeah. Paris!
What a sick play from Fielder, but not good enough because you're right. Ana just provides so many win conditions to combo it up with the EMP. Just the Nana Boost to help your Winston build up the Primal Rage or to help them close out a team fight. It's missing right now for the Paris Eternal. Fielder finally makes the switch over, but an interesting series of events now because the Dallas Fuel have a whole bundle of time to work with. And they are so close to capturing checkpoint B here. I don't know if they're going to be able to get a contest. Benbest now, he has to use that Primal Rage just to get into the point here, Josh.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. And FD-God has already fallen as well. And asleep as well. Nice sleep from Crimzo.
Oh man, that is, yeah, Crimzo with the most... I mean, again, just an incredibly telegraphed jump from Benbest there.
Yeah.
And Crimzo's like, well, okay, you're going to do that? All right, quick little sleep dart. Takes him out of the fight almost instantly, negates the Primal Rage. God bless Benbest, he does try. But that is going to be another capture here for the Dallas Fuel on checkpoint B. 4.5 minutes and a whole bunch of ultimates again to work with. This Nana Boost, the Primal Rage, the EMP, they've got everything they need.
Yeah, so many ults here for Dallas. Paris are going to start to get back up to theirs, and, you know, Fielder to his first Nana Boost as well. So Paris, I feel like Paris have essentially just gifted them 2 checkpoints here, and now we're going to see whether the Dallas Fuel are able to go toe-to-toe in a mirror match. EMP comes out, though. Nico's going to die over on the flank, but all of the EMP players, the tanks plus FD-God, are pretty healthy.
Ooh. Okay, Sleep Dart's going all over the bloody map here. Fielder, again, takes out the Nana Boost.
Nice.
Benbest gets slept at the back line. Everyone's getting slept up here when they're trying to go for these plays because the Nana Boost was negated on both sides.
Yeah, and he was in his he was slept up in the backlines there, and Note committed the self-destruct as he was asleep. It's the most horrible thing as a Winston to be slept and just have like a Junkrat tire or a self-destruct just plopped right next to you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Nope, you're just, unless you got that damage reduction on the primal rage, you're pretty much as good as dead, especially with the self-destructs coming through. But an even trade, you can see the hack coming through onto Hanbin here. Bembest trying to work an off angle, but another sleep dart. Both of these teams, Ana players, Crimzo actually having a very good performance thus far on the Ana. See if he can keep it up. Another hack onto Bembest means that he will not be leaping in to initiate and create some space for his team, but luckily, Fielder seems to be wanting to carry his team on his back. The Bionade, with the help of Nico's hacks, will take out Paintbrush, at least do enough damage to him. And now you're in a position where the Paris Eternal finally have got a decent hold here.
Yeah, they're going to be able to set up a reasonable hold, but Dallas Fuel have all of the advantages in this fight. Nana used on Gamsu and Note with a self-destruct to try and make some space. Fielder just peeks it. Ego check the self-destruct, why not? And that's Fielder with the Resurrect, but Bembest has fallen without that healing available from the Ana. Bembest has been chunked down, and Dallas, they have committed a bunch of ultimates here, but they've gotten the space that they needed.
Yeah, they got a bit of space. Gamsu down to 150 health, almost lost the 1v1 to Nico. Nico now farmed up his EMP off the back of that as well, so Paris want to be going in hard and fast with it. It's a 5-man EMP. Did he get anything more with it? Crimzo falls. I mean, a lack of healing in this fight, and Bembest just cleaving through them there. His big old lightning gun. Down to 2 minutes with Dallas Fuel. Remember, they had 4.5 minutes when they were initially pushing this in, but it is a difficult section of the map to end up going to completion.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to be able to push it all the way through. You have very long sight lines, and if you want to contest the payload, you're getting shot from all over the place. That also means that the Paris Eternal build their ults really quickly. Bembest and Fielder building ults in this final section way faster than they did anywhere else on the map. And you get these kind of scenarios where the defensive team has the higher ground, so they can jump on you with the Nana boost, with the Primal, with the EMP. And all the while you're facing Soon, who's got the damage boost on him. So it is a very difficult point to attack on Route 66 here, even with all of that time that the Dallas Fuel had available.
Yeah, Paris starting to get a bit more coordination under their belt, it seems.
Finding the necessary plays, on the off angle.
Yeah, Onigod sending it in, but it gets slept up straight away, and Doha will fall as well. So no hacks for the Dallas Fuel to play off of. Paintbrush committing the Valkyrie. In fact, both teams doing it, so the Resurrect will come through onto Doha, but again, trades out across the board. Bembest in close quarters could not be healed at that angle.
The Nana boosted Diva. Winston,
yeah.
A classic.
Pretty powerful stuff. Pretty powerful stuff. I mean, maybe not a classic in this composition, but hey, if it works, it works.
Yeah, I'm not sure it did work, but it has established some position over the map. Paris, though, are getting close to their EMP and Nana boost, so anytime they want to engage, they'll be able to take control of the tempo once again. I think Dallas need to play a bit quicker here. They need to put Paris Eternal on their back foot.
EMP through, big Bionade onto Gamsu, deleted him, but no tries to turn it around. 2 kills with the self-destruct. Resurrect from Paintbrush as well. Good peel coming out from Note to keep Gamsu back in the fight with the Primal Rage. We'll see if they're able to close this one out now as it goes into the overtime. Paris Eternal making the switches. Nano Boost applied over to Hanbin, as he has built up the self-destruct but unable to find any kills. Nico now onto the Doomfist. Hacked up, battered into the corner by Gamsu here. There should be a kill, but the heals come through anyway from FD God, keeping him alive. Dallas Fuel struggling to get anything done here. A wonderful turnaround now from the Paris Eternal. They have found a couple of kills, but they need to touch the card here. Finally, they do realize that FD God flying through in his mop form. Soon has to try and clutch this one up, but he's got the big mech in his face. Never ideal. No demeched in the end, though, and pushed off the cart will mean that the Dallas Fuel will stop just before the full completion on Route 66. Very scrappy between these two teams. But why not? You know, it's the last day of the regular season. It's like the last day of school, Josh. Remember, like the last day of school?
It is.
You'd go in and watch films.
It has that same kind of feel.
Yeah,
it's definitely
a bit of a celebration of the game, you know, because at the end of the day, the Paris Eternal have locked in the 3rd seed. Dallas Fuel, I'm almost entirely sure they've locked in their seeding position. So, you know, why not just play and just start flexing on your opponents? Just start subbing in random French people. Why not? You know?
I think that's very offensive to Nico to call him a random French person.
He's not. He's a very good player, you know. Also, me and Nico, we go way back.
That's true, actually. That's true.
That's some long
old buddies from previous games. But Nico has actually, I think, to his credit and to the credit of the coaching staff for Paris, he's found a really cool niche on this team so far this season. And it would be interesting if he becomes their Sombra player. Sombra's one of those heroes that I would imagine does suit Nico fairly well. It's not the most mechanical hero. It's more about an understanding of the macro game. It's a similar role to Mei, where you're helping set your team up for success by thinking very heavily about what your team needs to do, what the win conditions are, and how to help them fulfill them, rather than something like the Genji, where it's you that's doing the job, rather than you setting your team up for it. So I could see Nico being the Sombra player for them. I think that would be a cool role for him to have. And yeah, this last day of school kind of atmosphere is why I wasn't really criticizing Fielder on the Zen too much as well, because even though I do believe it is just a straight up worse pick than the Ana in these circumstances, it's really cool to see the guy still hit shots when he's playing on 200 ping. The ping king Fielder coming out here again on Zen for the Paris Eternal. And I am just amazed that this guy can put up top level performances. You look at this backline for the Paris Eternal, they have the best rookie backline in the league. They must do, right? Like, he's just going to kill on Doha. And this guy's playing on wild ping from Korea.
Massive disadvantage in his favor. Bembesto again dies in the backline, but that's what happens when you don't have the Ana, you don't have the healing to try and keep you up. Fielder is desperately trying to hit these shots, but again, it's going to get spammed down from a distance, so Dallas Fuel holding on to Big Earls. I like the conversation topic you were coming up with earlier, though, about Nico maybe specializing into the Sombra role, because if there was ever a team to help you along with that, it would be a team that's being coached currently by Rush, right?
Oh,
the previous coach for Element Mystic. One of the most famous teams in the Overwatch scene when it comes to those Sombra compositions.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if there's anybody that should master the Sombra, I mean, outside of Shanghai and Lip, because Lip is just a freak on the roll, but it really should be the Paris Eternal. They should thrive in these kind of metas. Now, having said that, they don't have Doha anymore, who was obviously a huge part of that success, and he's on the Sombra once again here for the Dallas Fuel. Utilizes that EMP, catches a bunch of the Paris Eternal, and even though the Trance is there, it doesn't really do too much. Transcendence, it turns out, not particularly effective against Bionade as well, Brent.
Yeah, it's got a lot of weaknesses. I know you were saying the other day as well in your Plat Chat co-stream with Scott.
With Scott Mercer, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Big shout out and thank you to Scott Mercer for doing that with us yesterday.
You were saying that there's the narrative going around that Zen is a very weak character.
Yes.
And I think if you only watch this game, you would tend to agree with that aspect. But you got to remember that Zen is the Primal Rage. Okay, slept, hacked. A couple of ults available to them, but Bembest goes down again. Left off the edge of the map. He was hacked. Could not use his leap ability. And an opportunity now for the Paris Eternal to find at least a little bit more. The resurrect onto Bembest. That's a high value resurrect. Sleep onto Bob means that they don't need to worry about that. Self-destruct into the back line will catch Doha. And this might be the opportunity that the Paris Eternal were looking for. Bembest committing that Primal Rage, just trying to batter a couple of targets. But when you're being pocketed like this, it's very difficult. But luckily, he creates enough space for his team to capitalize.
Fielder swapped over to the Ana and they instantly win the team fight. I'm pretty sure on Route 66, they have a 0% win rate, team fight win rate with Zen, and they have a 100% with Ana. I guess they maybe lost one team fight on defense when they were running the Ana, but apart from that, they've been pretty clean with it. So yeah, this Zen is not quite working out, which might give you an indication of why most teams have not been running it in the current meta. But yeah, I still think the hero itself is not the issue. It's just that it requires certain compositions to get value out of Zen. You have to work synergistically with the hero.
Big EMP here from Doha, but the capitalization is not there. And now Bembest trying to make the most of it. He dives into the backline, but you can see he's a little bit uncomfortable taking a ton of damage. Still, his team are there to heal for him. Nicely done, saving Bembest in the heat of the moment. And the car will continue to move forward. 100% team fight win rate with Fielder on Ana.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Like, they haven't lost the team fight yet when he's been on the Ana. And his Ana's really good as well. I've loved watching Fielder sleep darts over the course of the season. I really do feel, Bren, like this guy isn't in the conversation whatsoever when it comes to Rookie of the Year, but with how well he has played for the Paris Eternal on such an enormous disadvantage of playing with high ping, on a flex support role where your shots really are determined a lot by your ping as well, he deserves more credit, not just because he's a good player. A lot of people know that he's a very good player, but he's at the elite level in terms of flex support play.
Yeah.
On high ping as a rookie. That's something that nobody else in the season at the moment is doing. It's so impressive.
It's pretty insane, yeah. It's absolutely insane. As we were gassing up Fielder for his accomplishments, you see that the Paris Eternal have capped checkpoint B, so moving us forward with less time than the Dallas Fuel had, but admittedly they do seem to have a better understanding of how to play this one. Nice dynamite though comes through. Gamsu again using that ultimate to see if he can chunk down any members of the opposition. Big hack comes through, so Gamsu just forced to hide away for the time being. Doesn't want to lose the fight just yet. And no one's really taking care of Onigod on these off angles. Sends in Bob, which is going to be a bit of a nuisance now for the Paris Eternal.
Yeah, it is going to be a bit of a nuisance, but nevertheless, the Paris Eternal have stabilized.
EMP.
You know, there was a bit of a skirmish at the beginning, not a real team fight, as both teams kind of backed off with equal losses, and then they come back in now. EMP catches
That's a
nobody, though.
Zero-man EMP there from Nico. I don't know what was going on there, but
I think Paintbrush might have dodged it. There's a lot of props, a lot of sightline blocking material at the end here of Route 66. And I think Paintbrush popped his Valkyrie and just whipped himself around the corner.
Yeah, and off the back of that, it is just a bit of chaos. You can see 4 players now hacked up here for Paris. Bembest will go down. We'll see if FD God is able to get a resurrect. He might want to go for this one just to keep Bembest back into this fight. Besides, it's a little bit too risky. He's going to be remaining with the rest of his team, and the Dallas Fuel offloading the Nana Boost onto Gamsu, deleting FD God, sending him back to the respawn queue.
Here it is, Brent. That's, as far as I can tell, I mean, the stats might say otherwise because they have a slightly different way of measuring team fights, but that looks like, to me, the first clean team fight win that the Dallas Fuel have had since Field has been on the Ana. So they'll have one more opportunity here, Paris, to redeem themselves for that flaw. And they've got the EMP and the Nana Boost available, so a good opportunity here to close out the map. And Dallas have got some tools to defend with as well.
For Nico, who, I mean, he just whiffed the EMP, but he's built another one up very, very quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
So another opportunity here for them. Look at that damage being pumped into the off angle here. The hack into the back line. Nico with the EMP.
Great hack.
Great target priority. Paintbrush destroyed, taken out, and Crimzo. No more supports now for Dallas. No more heals, no more saviors coming in to try and clutch this one up in the tail end of the fight. Bob will contest the point up to a degree. The peel comes through. Doha needs to be pushed off, and he will be in the end. Paintbrush going back in, though, will get a resurrect up into Onigod, but it's one man against the world. Can't really do much here. Still, the spawners coming in now for Dallas. There is a world in which they may be able to do this one. Soon with this Bob will push back any stragglers who are trying to basically contest this one. A final moment, only 30 seconds remaining. Big EMP comes through, but the self-destruct will push any members of Dallas Fuel who are trying to contest this one. Nana Boost now applied onto a couple of targets. I don't know who that was trying to get onto, but Dallas trying their hardest to turn this one around. Crimzo sleeping up Hanbin, taking him out of the fight. A very scrappy fight indeed. It seems like it's just a never-ending stream of players going straight into the grinder as they're trying to close this series out. Still kept alive. Crimzo, an absolute MVP performance thus far. No one pressuring him whatsoever. The Bionades, the Nana Boost, everything being applied, and the Dallas Fuel that was looking so close to a loss. They stopped them in their tracks, and the Paris Eternal will not be able to cap up the end here of Route 66, and they're going to walk away with a map win.
There we go, the Dallas Fuel coming out in the final dying moments there. Some big shots hit by Onigod on the McCree. It's not a hero that we've seen him play too much this season. He wasn't with Dallas at the beginning of the league when McCree was meta, but he hit some really nice shots towards the end, along with Doha on the Doomfist to be able to cause a distraction. And the whole of the Dallas Fuel actually played that overtime situation pretty well. It was well coordinated, yes, kept it going, and allowed Onigod the opportunity to hit those clutch kills. So 1-1 heading into the half. An interesting match thus far.
I think Crimzo was very, I don't know, very shook it up at the end of that one because he typed in the chat afterwards, holy moly. Like, he really did keep his team alive for so long in the final moments of that team fight. It was insane. I mean, Paris didn't really focus him down, but the nano boost, the sleeps, the bionades, everything was coming together. So real star performance at the end of that one for Crimzo. But we're going to be going to a quick break. When we come back, our analysts are going to be delving into this match thus far and bringing you all the analytical details. You do not want to miss it. See you soon.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
You just gotta keep moving forward.
Welcome to the game break presented by Cheeses Grooves, and Costa has returned. Rumor has it that he had to go and pick up a Pringles delivery. Is that true?
I don't want to confirm nor deny whether or not I have acquired Pringles, but we'll find out in the future.
All right. Well, there you have it.
I've got salty in my handiwork.
Yeah. me and CP, we enjoyed a good match between the Dallas Fuel and the Paris Eternal, and we kicked things off on Busan, of course. And starting with you, Costa, this is actually quite an even matchup so far. And you said you were, you said internally to us that you were close to predicting the Dallas Fuel. Can you talk us through this matchup a little bit and what you're seeing from the Dallas Fuel and how they could potentially claim victory in this matchup?
I think we sort of seen it so far throughout this series that I think when the Dallas Fuel can get onto this Winston Diva style and they have Oniga playing that hit scan, Doha on that Sombra, and they're able to sort of work around, I think it looks really good for them. Where I think they're falling short against the Paris Eternal is when they end up having to play this double shield lineup. I think when you have Benbest and when you have Hanbin on these tank heroes and shield heroes, I think that's where the Paris Eternal thrive. We obviously go on to second map and there's more of that example time after time.
Yeah, CP, your thoughts so far on this matchup on Dallas Fuel on map 1, of course.
I mean, I think this is an interesting match from the Dallas perspective. You're happy that your team is putting up a fight, but you also got to look at the circumstances where this is a matchup for Paris where they have every reason in the world to rest their starters and focus on the upcoming meta for playoffs, which is different than the meta that's going on right now. You have players like Xe, where we were talking during the break. Custa mentioned, at times Xe has been out for injuries, and I think that Paris is definitely resting people right now. This is not necessarily Paris at full strength. And yet you still have a Dallas team that at times is looking uncoordinated. Things like EMPs, where every time Doa goes for an EMP, it's an adventure. It is not a sure thing. And you kind of look at it more from the angle of, well, is Dallas going to be able to follow it up this time? More so than, hey, I'm excited for this next fight. It's going to be a slam dunk. So, on one hand, you got Dallas right now trying to shore up their weaknesses. And on the other hand, you have a Paris team that is probably keeping it right now in third gear as opposed to max.
Yeah, and I mean, we can continue this discussion as we're looking at the highlights from Route 66 here. And you mentioned, of course, that it feels like the Paris Eternal, they're not playing Xe and they're playing Benbest on this Winston, but we'll get to that later. The Dallas Fuel won this map, actually, and tied things up, Costa. So looking at Dallas Fuel performance here on Route, how did they really get it done?
I think you see a very roller coaster-esque style of gameplay when you have the Dallas Fuel. It seems like when they get things going, it all works together, but you saw how quickly they got stifled on the third point, and once they sort of lose that foothold, I feel like Dallas does a really poor job of trying to get it back. And we saw them time after time. As ZP said, they have Doha's EMP, and that's what they need to build around, but it feels like whenever Doha comes through, there's not the execution that we expect at certain times. So I think Dallas, if they can tighten those little things up, they can definitely be a good team in this meta, but for right now, things are falling through the cracks, and that's when we're seeing Paris Eternal make these small resurgences.
Now, CP, taking a look at our crunch time presented by Cheese It Grooves, you of course mentioned that Benbest has been on this Winston so far, rather than No Smite, which we kind of expected. So taking a look at these stats here, CP, what are we really seeing from these two Winstons, and how is it playing out in game?
I mean, right now I look at it, I go, okay, this is better than expected for Benbest being in here in Winston. I think there's a lot to be said for just the general support Benbest is getting relative to Gamsu at times. And, I look at the stat line, I said, better than expected, given that you normally wouldn't see Benbest here on the Winston at all. And, I look at this here, and sometimes I look for a little bit of guidance, Johnny. I mean, you've seen this tank v tank setup so many times in your career. I mean, what does this say to you?
I mean, it says to me that they're definitely trying out Benbest on this Winston as we're preparing for the playoffs, because this is something that me, Costa, and Matt actually talked about during the Countdown Cup, right? Hey, it's like No Smite is your Winston player, but then you have Benbest playing your Risa and Reinhardt. So, it's a situation you really want to figure out. Now, Costa, I want to get your quick thoughts here going into the second half. Do you want to see No Smite back on that Winston, or do you think it's a bit of a one-off for Paris and they can get away with playing Benbest here?
I completely agree with ZP, and this is just not them playing at 100%. Benbest has been phenomenal this season, but I don't think his Winston's ever been at that top level. Obviously, that head-to-head, he's doing fine, but I'm interested to see if this is what Paris Eternal is going to run with for the rest of this series, especially if they start losing maps. We saw their player cams at the very end. They didn't look happy about losing Route 66, so I'm interested to see if that's going to trigger a reaction in putting in their starting lineup, or if we're going to see them run with this for the rest of the series.
All right, well, we'll see in the second half as we give it over to our casters once more. It's going to be Bren and Sideshow.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheese It Grooves. Deep flavor, deep crunch. It's a mind crunch. The Overwatch League is brought to you by HyperX. Unleash your style, unleash your fury with HyperX Fury Memory. And by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
To get out of there ASAP, finds Exy in the back line though and is still slicing in the back. FG Gohan ends up falling.
Ça a été respecté. Le combo avec la halte, il est parfait. Le reflect de Sparkle.
No can just hit shift, make sure he doesn't get CC'd. There's the shadow, 5 men on their back. Thank you very much.
Justement, il fait appel à son petit robot et Benbest qui s'offre le doublé à la frappe de feu. Le choc sismique autoritaire pour lui.
Welcome back, everybody, to the half, of course, between the Dallas Fuel and the Paris Eternal for the final day here, the regular season. Wow, what a season it has been. Truly some magical moments, you know. And we were just talking, Josh, you know, it's that final day of school kind of feel. You know, the teacher's putting on a weird French film with subtitles in your French class, because that's apparently, you know, equated with education these days in the UK at least.
True.
Yeah, it's definitely given me those kind of vibes thus far, because it is 1-1. Both of these teams, you know, trying out some new compositions, trying out some new kind of compositions and hero pools, and players, and everything's kind of getting mixed up here.
Yeah, it's been interesting to see what the Paris Eternal are running. You heard the desk talking about it just then as well. The idea of resting people or trying things out within different roles. But no major substitutions as we head into Numbani, which means that, you know, we're still going to be having Benbest on the main tank. Nico's still going to be there as well. So this does seem to be the lineup that Paris want to run with today. And for the Dallas Fuel, of course, they've already cut out some of their extraneous players so far this season, so they're down to a minimum of available players to even field in the first place. So we're not going to see any roster changes over for the Dallas Fuel either. And Numbani's going to be a really interesting one as we head into this map, Brent, in my opinion, because we're tied up to 1-1 in the half, and a big focus, I think, has been on whether Paris can look good in these Winston-centric styles with Benbest on that role. And when they played against the Atlanta Reign recently, that was the only other time that we've seen them in this meta, in this hero pool. And Benbest played on the first control map, the last control map. They won both of those, but he wasn't just playing Winston in those. And he also played in one of the other maps. They also fielded No Smite for 2 of the middle maps, and they lost both of those. So this isn't like some kind of panacea to just sub in No Smite on the Winston, right? It's about developing that team synergy and understanding the style and being able to have flexibility within the game as well. So I don't mind the idea, but it's unarguable, I think, that Paris looked sloppy in their most recent game against Atlanta, and they've continued to look a little bit up and down in the course of this game as well.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment of this game thus far. You know, we have very high expectations of the Paris Eternal, the 3rd seed coming into this, but the Dallas Fuel obviously trying to get maybe a win behind them just before they go into the playoffs. It would be nice to get that kind of momentum rolling. Onigod almost dying immediately to the Dynamite. That would not have been a good start to get things rolling, but luckily his team is there to heal him up, and they're taking high ground control. See, with this dive composition, normally teams would take that left-hand approach up through the staircase, but this time teams can just opt out of that and try and contest this little corner here, as both teams are spamming each other out.
Crimzo just hanging around in main, but I think if anybody tries to dive onto Crimzo, the whole of Dallas Fuel will collapse onto them. So even though it looks perhaps like the Ana is a little exposed there, he's in a pretty safe position. They're just trying to work Doha around the back, I think, and see if they can get a pick. Nice headshot from Onigod onto Nico. He's going to make him a little weak. Although Nico is ahead in terms of the EMP charge.
Yeah, but now they're diving onto Crimzo in the back line. Bionic committed to Gamsu with a nano boost. He does get a kill onto Benbest, so great opening pick. Instantly resurrected there by FD God. No one there to deny it, and the big self-destruct from Hanbin. It's going to set the scene nicely. 2 kills for him.
That was beautifully placed. Really, really nice, like set angle.
They're staggering a Winston.
Oh, wow. I mean, they already know that he has Primal because he's been up in the fight long enough, so no real issue. It's not like Winston can do burst damage either, so you're not going to lose somebody accidentally.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, but what a play by Hanbin, though. Catches the exposed players have only got a paintbrush just hanging out on their own. Obviously not going to be playing it behind a shield or behind cover because they need the angles for Onigon. So, a nice recovery, but they have given up a tick.
They have given up a tick, but that's all for the time being. Bob's going to be traded out now. You can see him starting to contest the point. Get a bit of pressure on it. Nice timing from Doha to try and turn things around, but an EMP from Nico. Going to catch on to a couple of the players. Builder falls though. Still instant resurrect, but followed up with another EMP as they try and turn things around. This time the Dallas Fuel coming out on top. Slick down onto Gamsu, but he's going to get woken up almost immediately here. And they have a huge player advantage, which means as soon as they take this high ground and push Hanbin off of it. Okay, Hanbin going for round 2 here. Will he find anything whatsoever? He gets the teammate onto note, but there's only a single player on the point, and it will be an easy cap now for the Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, pretty simple stuff there as soon as they found the pick onto Fielder as well. That Ana is so crucial. It's where the majority of your healing comes from, because your Mercy's, generally speaking, going to be pocketing the Ashe, providing that damage boost. So not very much healing coming out of your second support whatsoever, which is why the Ana is so pivotal in these situations. A heavy dive target, a heavy pick target from the opposing Ashe as well. A lot of pressure here on Fielder and Crimzo to stay alive in these situations.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
A lot of opportunities for them to keep this cart rolling through the streets of Numbani. What timing there from Fielder? Yeah, the shot to cancel that hack as well. Again on the ping disadvantage. You've got to speak highly of him because Bembest now going into close quarters. This
Nano
is
Mercy!
Winston's best scenario here, but yep, the Nano Mercy. Paintbrush did not know what to do with that. I mean, it doesn't really do anything to the healing or the damage.
You got to frag out.
Yeah, you got to whip out the pistol. Just do your best Neptuno impression. Not the case though, because Bembest with the nano boost on him. 2 kills, both the supports down now for Dallas. Bembest himself 50% to his primal rage, which they can rotate around as well. The EMP will be pretty ideal into this, but the Dallas Fuel have a couple more tools to work with compared to the opposition.
Yeah, but it's pretty arguable, honestly. It's not that big of a difference. It's only really the Primal Rage available for Gamsu. Fielder's going to be able to catch up in terms of nano boost charge as well. Ah, that pick is enormous, though. Nice individual play by Onigon, and FD got falls soon afterwards with no Ashe to be able to defend him.
Yeah, fallen as quickly as my dreams of making cement dumbbells, but Onigon with 2 kills from the bomb. The coach gun as well to the face.
That's 4 in the team fight.
It doesn't do much damage, but when you get a kill with it, I don't know, it just seems odd. It seems like it should do more damage, you know? It seems like quite a painful thing to get hit by.
Because it pushes people back a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of momentum, you know, and it's also.
I mean, I like to think that it's a bit of. I like to think it's air. Most of it is air. There's just a couple of bullets in there as well. It just shoots a big blow of air out and pushes you backwards.
Big gust of air.
Like a trampoline gun.
Yeah, I mean, they don't exist in real life, Josh, but.
Well, this isn't real life, thankfully. This is Overwatch.
Not yet, anyway. Gamsu with the Primal Rage. EMP traded out here. As you can see, Doha's using it. His team needs to try and get some kills here. Dallas desperately hunting for something. They're going to find FD God and Bembest. Wonderful opens for them. Note just making sure that nobody can really take out much more on the point. Just making sure they have some presence here. But this will be a matter of time before the Pirates will have to give up this second checkpoint. Hanbin, last man standing. So 2.5 minutes with Dallas Fuel to push this in now. A decent amount of time, but we've seen many push attempts falter and fail as we get into this little section of Numbani. It's quite difficult to push in when Paris Eternal have such a ample spawn advantage.
For sure. Pretty similar to Route 66, you know, a lot of the time the streets phase can go by in a flash if you get good positioning.
Oh my god!
What a sleep dart!
Crimzo has actually been having such a good game. I'll be honest with you guys. He's a player that we often forget about. We don't really talk about him much, but this game he's been having some raw individual performances. Never done across the map. I mean, soon we'll take him out, but we'll see if they're able to trade out this kill. I mean, you see Onigon just hunting for it. He won't find it. Instant res up onto Crimzo as well. Dallas want to keep pushing this one forward, and why not? They've got the EMP, self-destruct as well. Maybe they can combo something here, force the positioning. FD God goes down. EMP comes through. Going to catch on to 3 members of the Paris Eternal, and they were going to be falling shortly afterwards. Hanbin just about escapes. Now you're seeing Panic set into the Pass Eternal, switching over to these stall heroes. FD got onto the Lucio. The Dallas Fuel holding onto this Nano Boost means that they're really going to have an easy time of just trying to stop this one. The hack onto FD God, Hambit instantly DMX, and why not? Nano Boost onto Note, just to put that bit more pressure. 1 minute. That's what they've got now, and Dallas Fuel with a full completion on Numbani, an impressive performance, mainly off the back of Crimzo.
That's a great time. 1 minute and 10, so even if the Paris Eternal full complete, they will definitely get another attempt. And, you know, if they manage to get it into overtime, the Dallas Fuel, the worst they will be able to do is draw. So they've set themselves up with a very tidy advantage right now. Let's take a look at this replay as well. This was the sleep dart just as he died. Oh no, this was the sleep dart just after the EMP came through as well. Perfectly done. Great reaction play there from Crimzo. I think that, you know, Crimzo was one of those players that came out of Tier 2. He's been around for a long time, but he's never had that shot at the big time. I believe he's played on the World Cup teams before, but he hasn't played in the Overwatch League. And this year I feel he's actually been surprisingly good. And I say surprisingly because, in my opinion, Flex support has been dominated for a long time now by freakishly good exports from Korean contenders. They just produce good Flex supports over there at an unbelievable rate.
I mean,
I don't know if
right?
there's something in the water or it's
Alarm,
like just
Fielder.
the Korean culture produces better support players, but they have been superb for years. And so it's always incredible to me when you see a Western player that's able to compete at that same kind of level.
Crimzo doing his best job of it thus far. Soon going to be taking an early headshot here. The Dynamite just whacking on the signs. So no spam damage there, but a Pass Eternal now with their own shot of trying to make this work. What an off angle there from Soon. Damage boosted headshot, needs to deny the res. Dynamite ate up. Great heal there from Node, but another headshot from Onigod just as quick as he was back in the fight. And the Pass Eternal are not messing around whatsoever. You can tell, feeling a little bit heated, a little bit angry here. Soon rolling forward. Headshot after headshot. That's going to be a very, very quick capture now for the Pass Eternal, not messing around in the slightest.
Yeah, Soon looks like he is determined to feast on that Texas cuisine. Oh, the headshot. Oh, Crimzo, he nearly survived with the Bionade at his own feet. But the healthy splash on his toes are not going to be able to help him there. Again, the defense matrix from Note comes out to enable the Resurrect to come through, deny the kill from Soon. Crimzo back in the fight, but a lot of space and momentum here for Paris.
Soon's so close now to Bob as well. That Dynamite tick burn damage will probably bump him over the edge, which is a great way to enter into this fight. He sends it straight in. Not really a rhyme or reason for it, because meanwhile, look at this. The Dallas Fuel have decided to opt into the back line here. The hack onto Fielder, but great heals from FD God to keep him up. Promo Rage now used by Gamsu, and he's got them right where he wants them. Right off the edge of the map, he's going to try and get this kill, but the sleep dart comes through, and Gamsu has to get out of there. 100 health, not quite. Gets taken out by Soon. So the counter dive there from the Path Eternal, recognizing what Dallas were trying to do, answering back with it. But they've lost too many players now, as the Dallas Fuel managed to get that res up onto Gamsu, giving them a bit of a lead. And they're punishing the Paris Eternals for a bit of an overextension. That fight was swinging backwards and forwards multiple times.
Certainly was. It was another nice Resurrect as well coming out from Paintbrush. Something that the Dallas Fuel seem to be pretty well coordinated at, actually, is getting great peels for Paintbrush when he comes in for those reses. It was a huge part of the meta in 2018 when we saw all of that Mercy gameplay with multiple different patches, which made it either easier or more difficult to pull off these crazy Resurrects in the middle of team fights. But Dallas, remembering back to those old days, they've got a lot of players that were still around in 2018 that played within these Mercy metas. And they've been enabling Paintbrush very well.
Nico just trying to get in position now for the EMP. You look at the positioning there of Paintbrush. He was just waiting in the doorway, but the EMP comes through. Counter EMP from Doha, just to try and stop anything they're trying to do. Nice hack there. While Bembest is not going to be able to get anything done with this Primal Rage. I feel like Bembest is just being bullied this game. Every time he tries to go in for the Primal Rage, it's either a hack or a Bionade something or a sleep. Anything to try and stop him there. Soon does get a couple of picks. The support line of Dallas goes down. Onigod, FD God, I should say, comes through with the blaster. No man's got hitters all over the block when the Valken Mercy comes rolling around man's ends.
Excuse me.
And that's going to be a quick cap there for the Paris Eternal, getting checkpoint B, 4.5 minutes.
BenBest finds a kill on Doha, and I think something that bears noting as well when it comes to the conversation about BenBest Winston is that BenBest normally likes to play the Winston in a way that creates space for his team. That's how he likes to play all of his main tanks. I think this meta is more about being a bit greedy as the Winston. It's about taking the nanos, playing for yourself to be able to survive, syncing up dives with your Sombra onto the backlines. It's not so much about creating space until you have the nano and the primal, and at that point you can go a little deeper. I just don't really know whether that fits his style, and that's not saying that he's bad. Everyone's got a different style, and I'm not sure that this meta really suits him either. So even if he doesn't have the greatest performance today, it might still be able to pull it around for playoffs.
Oh, it's absolutely right. Playoffs is really where the magic happens, but this off angle by Soon has been so pivotal in them actually having a good opportunity to push this one through. And now the EMP as well, clearing everybody off the cart. Gamsu has to use his Primal Rage just to stall it out a little bit longer. You can see him trying to do his best. The bubble just to block the line of sight, but again, nothing is stopping Soon. Pot shot after pot shot. Bob now coming through into the back line. Onigod with the Bob. Again, Soon just felt like he could ignore it. I think he assumed his team would be taking care of it pretty soon. He does fall in the end. BenBest over the Primal Rage is trying to battle the players back. Dallas are getting spawners. The longer this goes, the better it's going to look for them. The stallers as well as they move over to the Wrecking Ball. Self-destruct. It feels like this is going to be an inevitability by the time they're done with it. Fielder somehow finds that kill onto Crimzo as he was fading away. That's very impressive, but they still want to fight this. The Resurrect now from Fielder. This fight continues, despite the fact that it felt like it ended a while ago.
It's never ending, Bren. They're going to go forever. Soon needs to hit some shots, and Nico with some hacks. They're going to get close to EMP as well. Crimzo in the back line.
What?
Sucking.
Has frozen. So,
yep. My feed is frozen as well. But here we go. We're back.
Back for me. Yep. It seems like the fight is still continuing here. EMP as well. Soon with a couple of pot shots again, and they finally get the capture there. So I don't really know what happened in the lead up to it, but I do know that that was probably one of the longest team fights that we've had in the Overwatch League.
That seemed like it just went on forever. Both of the teams feeling like they could continue to invest. And, you know, when you have the Mercy on either side as well and the Resurrects are available, it definitely does drag out these team fights a lot longer because that first pick that would normally signal the end of times for your chances in the team fight, it no longer means that because with good teamwork, you're able to get your Mercy even deep into enemy territory and get those Resurrects off. Nice work from Paris. Soon taking safe positions, landing a lot of very consistent damage on the Ashe. Nico with some decent hacks and all-right focus fire from the Paris Eternal. It's still been scrappy with the Dallas Fuel, who are considered a fairly mid-table team in North America, so not dominant, but at the same time, you know, Paris have already locked up that number 3 seed, so you can't read too much into it for the playoffs. It's just nice to see them experiment a little bit. I think the BenBest on Winston is going to be our largest takeaway from this match and how they decide to utilize that as they go forwards into the playoffs.
Yeah, will definitely be a talking point for sure. And a good opportunity here for the Paris Eternal to prove that they are not going to just fall short. They had a reasonable defense actually on this first point. But the Dallas Fuel have been quite clean with a lot of their executes in terms of how they're rotating the ultimates around the players. You can see Onigod just trying to work around some of these off angles here, dodging the dynamite, taking a shot or two, working around. Big Bionade there onto Gamsu, falling very low, and soon with another damage boosted headshot. Goodbye, Onigod. Unless they can get that Resurrect, that might mean that the push is just kind of over at this point. Another huge Bionade from Fielder connects onto 2 targets. Gamsu's so low here. Doa forced to get out of the fight himself.
30 seconds.
A very patient game being played by Paris thus far.
25 seconds left. The Paris Eternal are going to be ticking up to a couple of their ultimates here. Fielder should build up his nano fairly quickly if Fembest and Handin take a little more damage. And time is now ticking very low for Dallas, but Crimzo has his nano online already. Oh, but Gamsu falls!
Yep, Gamsu going down there. Might be the turning point for them because, again, that happens on the high ground. It's so difficult to try and get a resurrect. Another nano boost onto Note. They love to prioritize these nano boosts onto the Divas, but what can you do when the overtime is going? You have to try and make some plays. You have to do it now. Fembest just cutting off the respawns as well, making sure that they are not close to being able to touch this one. Gamsu with the Primal Rage, but he can't get close still. Doha was on the point, he kept it going for a short period of time. Gamsu slept up on the corner, a last-ditch effort from him. Bob comes through, but yeah, won't be enough. The self-destruct from Hanbin just pushing everybody off, so the Dallas Fuel unable to get a single tick.
And with 2 minutes and 2 seconds, we now see whether Paris Eternal are going to be able to take the lead once more in this series, or whether it's going to be settling out in a draw. Paris were pretty good on their point A offense. They just basically waltzed in and took the point for free. So if they can pull off a similar kind of attack, this should be an easy one, honestly, for the Eternal. They seem to have applied the pressure a little bit more as the series has gone on.
Yeah, the Paris Eternal, I think, are a team that I mean, as much as we have been bigging up that, yeah, the seeding is kind of locked in at this point, and the players at this point are playing for pride or whatever else is on the line, neither team will want to lose this series. The Dallas Fuel want to gain some momentum coming into the playoffs, and the Paris Eternal definitely don't want that loss to kind of tarnish this season that they've had thus far. So both teams giving it their all. Still drawable for the Dallas Fuel because 2 minutes can easily be whittled down, especially on his first section in Numbani. Let's see if they're able to do it.
Hello.
Similar compositions for both teams. My eyes on Onigod here. I feel like with a damage boost on him, he's a potential player that can turn this fight around. So I just cheekily getting in another 6-7% of his EMP. We'll see whether that ends up being a game changer towards the end of these 2 minutes. Could do, you never know.
Yeah, a huge reason as to why they opened this point up last time there was this damage boost flank from Soon, and he's going for it again, but this time the Dallas Fuel read it. Know exactly what's going on. You can see the positioning being taken by Gamsu, pushing him away from this angle. What you want to see, and the bubble is just blocking them from taking anything like this, but Gamsu's eating so much damage. It's going to force it, and no, you are kidding me.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
I'll be honest with you, I had no idea that was going on because the audio on our end was desync, so I couldn't even hear them capping as that happened. It just ended.
Yeah.
It just ended. I was not expecting that
attention
whatsoever. Normally you hear the little but I did not hear that whatsoever, so it's like, what was that? Are you kidding me?
I mean, I'd love to see a replay or something of that, because I have no idea what just happened. Literally not a clue.
I think that sums up the game, though, Josh. You know?
Yeah.
The teacher stepped out the room for a moment, and then it just all hell broke loose. You know? Like,
here we go. Here's a replay. We had... Okay, we had them on the point. No, was there as well. Oh, my word.
Come on, Dallas. Oh, after I was gassing you up saying you don't want to lose this, you want the win on your record.
Ooh.
Yikes.
GG go next. You know, the best they could have done was a draw.
Yeah, sure.
Just focus on the next map. It's all good. Just wipe it from your memory. It's perfectly fine, Bren. Nothing to see here.
This sums up this series so well. I love it. I love it when these moments just come together like that. My goodness. Well, Dallas Fuel, we'll see if they're able to collect the state of mind necessary to push forward into this series. Now, at the end of the day as well, the Dallas Fuel, that was only drawable, that map as well.
Yeah.
So, yes, a mistake that cost them
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest 5G network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Well. Fancy seeing you here, eh? Joining us at the end, maybe the end, of the Dallas Fuel versus the Paris Eternal here. It's currently 2-1. Dallas Fuel, unfortunately, had a little bit of a Charlie Niner moment. Happens to the best of us. One thing that always comes to mind, actually, when a team pulls off something like that is that, yes, it's funny. Yes, you come out with memes. Yes, it's funny, just to reiterate that point. But something Jake says to me pretty often, because we live under the same roof, but he says that actually C9ing is, I don't know if this is just Jake saying it because Houston used to do it a lot, but he says it's the true makings of a team that is trying to play at the most optimal level, because the split second that you need to jump onto the point and rotate those players is actually something that you need a lot of coordination for, and can be the difference between winning and losing, is finding those extra little seconds that you can maximize the efficiency of your gameplay in.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, most of the time when your ranked gameplay doesn't C9 is because everyone's sat on the objective and they're losing the team fight because of it. And the Overwatch League teams are so... one player come on the point and then dance off it, and then another one. And it's when that elaborate dance fails that you get these incredible moments like that. I mean, there are some absolutely dreadful C9s that happen in the league as well. Like, man, I can't even remember his name. The classic Shanghai.
Youngjin?
What did you say, sorry? Youngjin, yes. Youngjin. I was thinking Jinwoo for some reason, which is obviously wrong. I just got the Jin part. But yes, Youngjin, where he stepped off the payload on Dorado.
When he was playing Brigitte, and he was just holding up the shield and he walked off.
I mean, that wasn't anything to do with playing at the highest possible level and trying to maximize efficiency. That was just
that was a true C9. Oh.
That really was a genuine, bona fide, verifiable C9. But those are few and far between.
We've had a couple of substitutions, as you can see. Sparkle and Nosemite are going to be in now for the Paris Eternal, so making some switch-ups, which I can see. And this seems like they're, saying, okay, maybe Nosemite going to be switching back over to the Winston that he's been playing normally. Or, Josh, you said you would like to see Nosemite play Reinhardt.
Yes, increase that flexibility within your main tanks. Get Nosemite on the Reinhardt and the Orisa. I want to see it. I think that's exactly what Paris need to be able to get back in here. Sparkle, what heroes hasn't he played this year? The Widowmaker? See if he can play that hero.
Sparkle Widowmaker, man.
I mean, I think I have ever seen Sparkle play McCree, I think, in Contenders, and he was pretty decent at it. Although I might be misremembering. Obviously, he doesn't normally play the long-range hit scan kind of roles, but, why not? Give us a demonstration. It's the last day of school, Paris Eternal. Showcase what you got before the playoffs.
The teacher's back in the room now, so no more C9ing. You gotta act up. All right, settle down.
You'll get scolded. You'll get detention.
Stop scribbling on the whiteboard. God, yeah. The Paris Eternal, though, with a great opportunity here to close out this series, 2-1. So we'll see if they're capable of doing it now that they've brought in Nosemite. Seems like Nosemite will be playing the Winston here. Typically the Winston player for the Paris Eternal. Sparkle on the Sombra. He had a great showcase on the Sombra at the beginning of this series. Now a bit of return back to the norm.
Attackers incoming.
Yep, and we're off. We're off to the races. As the Dallas Fuel looking out to attack, and Sparkle's back on this Sombra. He was playing that hero at the beginning on Busan, and he looked pretty good at it, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see Sparkle on roles that are more to do with setting up his team. Obviously, tried to play May a little bit at the beginning of the season as well, although with mixed results, honestly. But he's up to 40% of his EMP already now within the first 30 seconds.
We're finding an opening, and there you go. Sparkle goes down. So job done thus far. Let's see if they can deny the Resurrect as well away from them. You can see them trying to work their way in. Crimson Paintbrush going down though. That was soon again. This guy always comes up big when his team needs it, and taking out both the supports mean that this should have been a 1-5 for Dallas Fuel. There was nothing to really stop them from just diving in. No more hack targets, but soon putting in the work, putting in the damage, and There you go. One after the other.
Yeah. Putting the team on his back in that team fight as well, because Sparkle went down very early on, but some really nice shots hit by Soon.
Hey Ash, the parsec feed is delayed in terms of the audio by 10 seconds.
An immediate follow-up with the headshot onto Paintbrush to deny any possibility of a resurrect. Exactly what his team needed. Now, having said that, Sparkle sat at about 25% behind when it comes to the EMP charge because of his early death in the previous team fight.
Yeah, an EMP now built up though for Doha. Look at this, straight away unleashing it, but Sparkle's already done the damage here. It's gonna be traded out though, Sparkle will fall, but Doha hunted down the little corridor. And a dive now from Nosemind as well. And you can already see the synergy just coming into play. Sparkle rezzed up as well, so they're not gonna be losing that player advantage. They're able to stay in control of the point without many casualties.
2 minutes left on the attack here, and Dallas utilized a lot of their win conditions in that previous one. I mean, attacked, used EMP. The other ultimates are less huge team fight wins, honestly, compared to the EMP that would be available. If Doha can get an individual hack off here onto somebody in the back line, onto a Fielder or an FD God, that could be huge.
Yeah, trying to find these opportunities. You can see the damage being put in here onto Gamsu, taking him out with the hack as well. Not able to stop him. Nosemind slipped up in the back line, but eventually brought down there from the micro missiles of note. And we're seeing that a couple of opportunities now for the Dallas Fuel to try and aggress back onto them. The dive comes through here from Gamsu, working around the Dallas Fuel, finding the point. And good patient play now from the Paris Eternal, as they are just waiting for the spawners to come back in before they contest this one. With Bob still ready and waiting, goes for the headshot, but Appeal. Great work there from Note, just stopping any sort of damage coming through. Bob still sent out though, as Soon tries to turn it around. Primal Rage committed by Gamsu. He's going to be able to get that kill there onto Fielder. He will just drift off of the edge of the map. Could be an inevitability unless Soon clutches up.
Soon is clutching up though. He's hit 2 shots already, and although
I've spoken
they're
into
dealing
existence.
although they're dealing with a shield on the point, that self-destruct. Hambin wasn't able to get back into the mech. This fight has been so back and forth. It really did seem like Soon had an opportunity there to be able to turn that fight around. FD God with the res as well. Are they? No, surely you can't still go for that. Is Soon even going to be able to get out? Can he get caught? Why did they res him? Just a total waste of that.
He's with the team. He's with the team.
Yeah, it's not going to make any difference, but that was a little strange.
Yeah, could have been a dangerous situation to be in. But Doha now sitting with the CMP means that he is going to have an opportunity to turn things around for his team now. With 3 minutes is what they're working with. Great pre-fire there from Hanbin, actually, checking all of the corners. Might be a defensive counter EMP, but the Translocator gets destroyed, so Doha actually cannot go to the high ground. And Gamsu gets obliterated there from the Bionade, from afar. Fielder making sure no healing can be applied onto Gamsu. Might be able to get Sparkle here, but Sparkle will get out as well.
Good coordinated aggression from Paris Eternal on their defense. This was an area of Volskaya where Paris looked unassailable when it came to the Genji meta, where they were holding forwards in the same kind of aggressive position, running the Winston, running the Genji, and they would dominate opponents by playing aggressively with Sparkle's Dragon Blades. This is a somewhat similar situation, but with Sparkle on the Sombra here, because look how deep he goes for that EMP.
Yeah, counter EMP comes out from Doha. He wants his team to try and turn this around now. It was good. They get a resurrect onto Onigod at least. Maybe he's able to turn this one around.
But the thing is, all of their abilities are just forced so far away from the point. They haven't even gotten through the choke. And they've already been forced to use Resurrect, use a lot of their healing, use Bionade. All of these cooldowns have already been expended because Paris are fighting so aggressively.
Yeah, not ideal if you don't exactly trade that for a bit of space. The map control. Bob comes through. A nano boost onto Gamsu as he's trying to build up that Primal Rage. So close to grabbing it. He's going to be able to maybe get it. Coach Gun pushing him away. A lot of peel just pushing away Gamsu here. Primal Rage translocate just in the nick of time. Will he be able to get this kill? He's trying to find it, but again, the heals in the back line. So perfect. Still, Dallas have a positioning on this point now. Fielder instantly rests up, but Assad straight into the back, takes out Onigod. Bionade ate up there by the back of Hanbin's mech, but that's okay. Paris is still ready and waiting at this choke point. With the dynamite damage applied, means they're not really going to be able to stand up to the might of the Paris Eternal here.
Yeah, Paris Eternal is just doing such a good job at rotating these ults, taking early aggressive fights, putting Dallas in difficult situations. Hanbin with the bomb found Onigod as well. Obviously, Onigod and Paintbrush are going to be the players that are playing the furthest away from cover and shields as that Ashe and Mercy combination. Dallas with one last chance here on Volskaya. 20 seconds left. They're going to have a Bob and a Valkyrie.
Yeah.
It's a prayer and a dream.
God,
I don't think it's going to be enough, but if there's anyone that can get it done, it's Bob.
Nice headshot there from Onigod. And Bob does have to come in clutch here. He's got to be able to pull a couple of the eyes away, but it seems like Soon's going to be sending his into the fray first.
Oh,
for the choke point. Doha goes
down.
Doha goes down, 92% to that EMP. Not ideal. The overtime's still ticking. Onigod has to get something done on this high ground. Finally, the resurrect through, and Doha will be able to unleash this EMP. Bob slept up though. Moved off the point as well, just so that they don't get the overtime going. Very smart play there from Hanbin, and the Dallas Fuel unable to get a tick on that second objective. Pass Eternal holding on.
Yeah, not quite able to thread through the shots and rotate the ultimates correctly. This forward's aggressive defense from Paris on Volskaya B has been a pain for teams to crack now across multiple metas. It's a style that just works so well on this map as long as you're coordinated with your aggression and confident that you can convert that aggression into kills. But they do it very well. This perhaps is one of the reasons that we've seen No Smite subbed in for Volskaya, is that he's normally the player that's playing this map when they have this kind of style of aggressive point B defense. I imagine it's something that requires quite a lot of coordination and preparation to play, rather than just subbing in Benbest and seeing how he does immediately.
Yeah.
The margin for error is quite slim when you're defending on the assault maps. You only need to lose one decisive team fight and you've lost the round. Or lost the point. 2 to lose the round.
Good points all around, Josh. I'll be giving you good marks for that.
What is Note doing to that truck? Leave that truck alone, young man. The teacher is still in the classroom. You can't be getting away with that stuff.
The trucks are pretty indestructible, though, in the future, it seems.
Look, he's still going for it. Get off it.
Yeah,
it's like, you know when you have a small dog and he just takes a liking to your leg one day?
Sure, sometimes, but in this case, I don't think that's really applicable with Nope, but the Pass Eternal now on the attack. Onigod are going to be opting for the Widowmaker here, and we know that he can play this role. We know that he can take a couple of shots. And we know that he can hit them as well to try and turn the tide of this battle. No Smite, oh my goodness, 20 HP as he jumped up there. I think he got a headshot there from Onigod as he tried to leap in. The bubble was a little bit late.
But look what that's done for Fielder's Nano Boost charge as well. He's at 46% already within the first 20 seconds.
Yeah, because they didn't get that kill. They didn't finish him off. Crucial aspect. Hamden does get demeched, so Dallas could go for an aggressive dive here without the D.Va to worry about. But it seems like they're a little bit reluctant to do so.
Well, they don't really have the consistent damage coming out from an Ashe. They can't combo the dive with the dynamite or any particular shots coming in. They're just more relying on Onigod to hit individual kills himself. And he did get that D-Mech earlier on, so that was a nice headshot. And he's going for these grapple targets at the moment.
The hard ask from Gamsudo diving into the backline with the nano boost applied. That's enough damage that FD-God will fall in the end. Follows it up with the second one as well. So the Pass Eternal might have to consider just backing here unless they can get a very key resurrect. Well, actually not going to be able to get that, of course, because FD-God died, but yeah, backing off for the time being. 2.5 minutes is what they've been brought down to. And a big part of this, Onigod just pumping in the consistent damage, these line-of-sight shots. It's hard to play against, Josh.
It is difficult. Oh, that's a nice
jump
pick.
Shot.
That's a lovely little shot from Onigod. Bear in mind as well, this guy's playing on super high ping as well. He's playing from Norway. So, same kind of thing as is happening with Kevster for the Gladiators and,
yeah.
You know, who else? Shockwave, of course, for the Vancouver Titans. A lot of these guys from Scandinavia with super high ping on the DPS rolls.
Mana Booster's ready and waiting. See if they want to do it soon. The headshot onto Gamsu. The EMP connects onto 5 members of the Paris Eternal, but it doesn't look like they're able to get the kills. It does allow them to get the Resurrect onto Gamsu to bring him back into the fight, but Hambin, look at his off angles. The high ground completely controlled. He has the self-destruct as well. Onigod from the sideline. Damage boosted up on a Thursday afternoon, able to get 2 kills. Real performance from him, but is he?
It's Sunday.
Well, it's not. Yeah, it is Sunday, Josh. It is Sunday, but for the line to work, it has to be Thursday. So for a short moment, I pretended. Now the Dallas Fuel are coming back in for the recontest, and you can see soon does fall. A lot of damage being slammed into them. Paintbrush will be the next one to fall, and it was a nice recontest attempt, but eventually the Paris Eternal are going to be capping this one up, just feeding ult charge over to the Paris Eternal, which is nice of them.
Okay, can the Dallas Fuel hold on for a draw once more here? They had an opportunity on Numbani, and this will be their final opportunity in this series. If they can't hold on for a draw, then the Paris Eternal will have locked them up with a 3-1 victory. Dallas cannot afford a mistake like the Charlie 9er that happened on Numbani, but it is a much larger time bank as well. Difficult here to hold Volskaya Point B without a single tick.
Nice Dynamite, applying a bit of damage. Dive from the Dallas Fuel as they try and stop the Paris Eternal from taking any sort of positional high ground, but lots of other players on both sides. An even fight, but it will suit the Dallas Fuel's favor because, of course, they have the closer spawn point.
Paris are just going to keep throwing their bodies in until they have a large ultimate advantage here. They have 3 minutes. There's no reason for them to take risks particularly. They can put the pressure on the Dallas Fuel. Dallas are forced to expend ultimates because they have to win every team fight from here on out. And then once Sparkle sees an opportunity, or if Soon gets an early pick, then they can full commit.
See the spam coming through. They've actually got a bit of presence on the point here. Just try and force them, and it's Nosemite just chilling on the point. If that, the Nano Boost comes through from Fielder as well, just to keep him nice and happy. Bob hacked up. Gamsu's turn to try and see if he can get a kill or 2, but it seems like the damage might already be done here. Paintbrush falling very early on. Gamsu's got to clutch it up with the Primal Rage. He needs to find some value with it, but Nosemite comes in for one of his own. 2 kills for him. The bubble through, 100 HP in a dream, and no one to stop him on this point. Dallas Fuel unable to really get this defense going. Paintbrush, last-ditch effort from him, but a self-destruct laid down like an egg in the center of the point. A couple of stallers coming through now from the Dallas Fuel. They may be able to get a pick or 2, but the way this is set up, so hard to push Nosemite out of this point here. Only a couple of players left remaining.
Fist is coming out to play. Immediately gets blown up, but I love seeing Soon on the Doom Fist. He gets resurrected. I want to see him pop off, see if he can get a 3K to close this out for Paris. Kills 1. It's the Mini Diva, the Pilot Diva. I love it.
Absolute chaos. Absolute chaos in the final moments here of this series as well, and that is going to seal it. The Paris Eternal taking this series in a 3-1 fashion. GG's across the board. And it was just a little bit of fun for both of these teams, I think, as well. Obviously, both wanting to walk away with the win, but only one can, as is the nature of war.
That's absolutely true, Brent. That's what I would call this match. It really was a war of the minds in some sense between the Paris Eternal and the Dallas Fuel. But yeah, it's going to be Paris taking another win, boosting that win rate even higher for them. What a spectacular regular season it has been for the Paris Eternal. A team that a lot of people thought would be just hovering around the kind of middle of the pack if they could possibly hold on until Sparkle got there to make a push for the playoffs. No! The Paris Eternal, with their amazing coaching staff and their talented roster from Element Mystic, have been dominant within North America. And not to the same level as the San Francisco Shock or the Philadelphia Fusion, but they have been a very solid third-place team who's looked dangerous enough to win at various times throughout the year. So, fantastic end to the regular season, fantastic regular season in general from this team. They can be very proud of what they've accomplished.
Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to say that, I predicted Paris to finish pretty well, actually, in the overall season, so...
Yeah, I think you also predicted, like, Boston and the Justice in your other top 3, so... Yeah, you
True,
don't get any
but
points.
that was based on the travel schedule, which didn't actually end up happening, so, you know, that's part of the reason why, but, no, I did think this team was going to be good from the get-go. I wasn't one of the early haters like you on your silly little plat chat show that I have no affiliation with. Yeah. A good series, though, overall for the Paris Eternal here. You know, we got to see a little bit of flexibility from them, starting to shore up some of the weaknesses that have been prevalent, because that's always been one of Paris's biggest issues. But we're going to go over to our player of the match, of course, presented by Xfinity, and it's going to be Fielder. What a guy playing on high ping. We'll be singing his praises all day long. An absolute mechanical warlord, some would say.
You're a big fan of using that with the Paris Eternal players. I think that was your nickname for Sparkle as well. It maybe loses a bit of its luster if you
attach it to everybody. The crown likes to move, Josh. I don't dictate where it goes. It just goes to whatever play was the best, you know?
Fair enough. And Fielder was a beast in this series. He's been a beast all year long. It amazes me that this guy is playing on high ping, the kind of stuff that he's able to do on both Ana and Zen. And you know what? I think he's just an absolute chad for coming out with the Zen on Route 66 and just throwing team fights for his team. But he was hitting those shots, and that's the kind of confidence I want to see from these guys.
Yeah, especially when they're playing the Zenyatta.
Paris Eternal jersey there.
Yeah, and I'm so glad as well that he managed to, I don't know why I just thought of this, but I just saw his little wee face, and I just remembered that moment that Seth took him out for dinner, for a celebratory dinner after they won the Summer Showdown. So pleased, actually, that got to happen as well, because it is a difficult scenario for these players playing across the world like this, when you're not next to your teammates, when you're not cheering alongside them, living under the same roof. Very difficult to, I suppose, for one, keeping that momentum going, but also to keep up a consistent level of play with so many things working against you. But Fielder manages to do it, and he does it with style.
He really does, yeah. What a talented player, and an incredible mental fortitude as well, to be able to keep up this level of play with disadvantages, with you know, a long regular season, separated from all of your teammates, unable to go out and celebrate with them, or just, you know, talk with them generally and build that kind of team synergy that so naturally occurs. We've got an interview coming up with Fielder as well. We're going to hear from the man himself, which will be really interesting, actually, to hear what he's had to say and kind of hear maybe some of his summarized thoughts of the season as well, because something that I mentioned when he was playing Zenyatta on Route 66, when I had the opportunity to wax lyrical about this support line, is how good they've been as a rookie duo. We have only one, unfortunately, Rookie of the Year award this season, when there are so many talented rookie players coming in. But even though you wouldn't really give the Rookie of the Year award to Fielder or FD God individually, because there are players like Alarm and Lee Jae-gon contesting those Rookie of the Year support positions who are just insane in what they've been able to do in 2020, as a duo, that's absurd that there is no veteran experience on the backline of the Paris Eternal, and yet they have been consistently a very, very top-tier duo. That's not something that can be said for Alarm with his partner Funny Astro, who was in the league last year, or Lee Jae-gon with his partners Luffy or Izzyaki, who are in the league since 2018. So that's very impressive that they've been able to put that together.
Truly is impressive. Now let's hear from the man himself. Fielder has a quick little interview with us. Okay, let's go.
Thank you, Bren. Yes, I'm indeed here with Fielder from the Paris Eternal, as well as Avala translating. Thank you so much for that. First off, congratulations on the win today here against the Dallas Fuel. Just your quick thoughts. What were your thoughts on your team's performance in the last regular season match, Fielder?
오늘 댈러스와 시즌 마지막 경기를 했는데 이번 경기에 대한 소감을 한 말씀 해주세요.
오늘 댈러스전 제가 너무 못해서 좀 안 풀린 것 같지만 이겨서 기뻐요.
Fielder feels like the game didn't go well because he underperformed so much today, but he is very happy that we got to get the victory in the end.
All right. Well, we know what Fielder is capable of, so I hope he's not too sad about his play overall, especially going into the playoffs. On a more positive note, the Paris Eternal have been playing fantastic this season and secured themselves a top seed. Obviously, Fielder, you came into the season about midway through, but how do you feel about the Paris Eternal's accomplishments so far this season?
파리 이터널이 이제 뭐 최종 3시드도 확보를 했고 필더 선수가 시즌 중반에 합류를 했잖아요. 이번 시즌 파리 이터널의 성적에 대해서 어떻게 만족을 하시나요?
네, 제가 들어왔을 때는 중상위권 정도였는데 마지막을 상위권으로 마무리해서 만족합니다.
When he first joined the team, we were a mid to top tier team, but now we finished the season as a top tier team, and he is very happy that we could get the result of a top tier team.
All right, well, there you go. So as we get closer to the season playoffs, we know that if you qualify as a top 2 North American team, you will get the chance to travel over to Korea to compete in the Final Four, of course. If Paris Eternal makes it, and if his team travels to Korea, does he have any plans for the rest of the team, like greeting them, welcoming him to Korea?
그 파리가 최종 4팀 안에 되면 이제 팀원들이 전부 한국에 가게 될 텐데 한국에 팀원들이 오면은 가장 하고 싶은 게 무엇인가요?
외국 선수들이 그 한국 치킨을 많이 좋아해가지고 만약에 오게 된다면 같이 먹고 싶습니다.
Our Western players really love Korean fried chicken, so if they come to Korea, he is planning to take them all out to a Korean chicken party.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. Okay, can I ask this then? What is his favorite fried chicken place? Because I was in Korea in 2016 and 2017, and Kambu chicken is incredible, and I would love to go back. What is his favorite fried chicken brand?
리인포스님은 깐부치킨이 가장 좋아하는 치킨이라고 하는데 필더님이 가장 좋아하는 치킨 브랜드는 어느 브랜드신가요?
저는 치코바를 제일 좋아해요.
Fielder is saying Jacoba is his favorite, but I can confirm our Western players, Kambu chicken is their favorite. They love it.
There we go, Kambu chicken. I can't wait to go back once lockdown is over. Anyway, congratulations, Fielder, on a nice win against the Dallas Fuel today, and good luck preparing for the playoffs. Thank you, Aval, as well, for translating. But that is going to be it for the Dallas Fuel against the Paris Eternal. We got our next match coming up, of course, between the San Francisco Shock and the Atlanta Reign. So stay tuned for some more Overwatch action coming your way.